I mean, Kyoshi's gonna Kyoshi, am I right?
Ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Will. Welcome back to another spoiler review here on the channel. I'm taking a look at episode 2 of Avatar: The Last Airbender on Netflix. This is going to be a spoiler review for episode 2 of Avatar, so if you have not watched episode 2 yet, or even episode 1, because I will probably be referencing things from episode 1 as well, please make sure that you pause this video, go check out those episodes, and then come back and hear my thoughts on them. And if this happens to be your first time checking out one of my spoiler reviews here, or any video on my channel, hi! Name's Will, and I do geeky stuff on this vast internet, do reviews and reactions, discussions, some gaming, some drinking. I just like to have fun, and I hope you do as well. If that happens to be your bag and you're interested in hearing it from a geeky bear like myself, please subscribe to the channel. I just talk about the stuff that makes me happy, and that's what we're going to talk about here today with episode 2 of Avatar: The Last Airbender, entitled Warriors. So this picks up after the events of episode 1, when Aang has joined up with Katara and Sokka, and they have left the Southern Water Tribe while at the same time being pursued by Prince Zuko and trying to figure out what Aang's going to be doing in this situation. And they eventually, with the help of the notebook that he took from Zuko, decide to go to Kyoshi Island, which, if you remember from the animated series, Kyoshi Island is the home of the Kyoshi Warriors, who are a group of warriors who were trained over the ages by Avatar Kyoshi before her passing and before her life force was turned into Avatar Roku, that sort of thing. This episode pretty much encompasses what episode 5 or 6 from the animated series were. Just remember, with the spoiler reviews, I will be referencing both the animated series and the live action one, mostly pointing out some of the differences that I do see, and also just giving my thoughts of how I feel about the live action one. Because I know I've seen some of the people talking about the series online, because of course all the episodes are available on Netflix for your viewing pleasure, but I'm actually approaching it by episode basis, so I'm going to be a little bit slower than most of other people, so I hope you do enjoy this video regardless. I do like the portrayal of Kyoshi Island. I like the look of the Kyoshi Warriors. I think the outfit, and like I've said with my thoughts on episode 1, I really like the costume design in the series. I think the Kyoshi Warriors outfits look great. I even like the look and design that they went with Avatar Kyoshi once Aang actually has a conversation with Kyoshi in the spirit world once he connects to his past lives. The knowledge to try to find the information for his past lives is very clumsy to a little extent. Some of the dialogue, like I stated in episode 1, is a little expositional, and it does continue through at least episode 2 and episode 3 once I review that as well, because I did watch both of these episodes back to back. But not super distracting enough that it took me out of the moment. I like the interaction between Suki and Sokka, and most notably, I love what I'm seeing from Suki's actress. I think she is doing a wonderful job. I like her performance. I like her relationship with Sokka. It's not necessarily rooted in oh, I'm surprised girls are really strong fighters. It's more so, it centers more with Sokka's insecurity of actually being a warrior. And some of that actually gets revisited a little bit more with that conversation he has with the character in that episode, which I'll talk about once we get there. Sets up their future relationship that we saw blossom throughout the animated series. It does have to be a little bit more of a quicker pace, obviously because of the 8-episode length of the season. But I do like that we got to spend a little bit of time with those two characters. They got to kind of partake in a little bit of training with each other, which I thought was nice. We got to see a little bit more of the lighthearted side of Aang, especially when he was interacting with the kids of the village. We also got our introduction to Momo after they decide to leave the Southern Air Temple, and Momo joins the team. I like the design of Momo. It's just a cute little flying lemur. What are you gonna expect? What more do you want? What more do you want, internet? The introduction of Zhao was, I think this was a little earlier than the animated series. So again, that's another little difference that we get with the sort of changing of the direction of how the story is going. Still the same players, just going a little bit of a different direction, which I'm not opposed to. Zhao is a little bit more under the radar. He's not initially trying to backstab Zuko, or at least it seems like that when he makes it to Kyoshi Island before Zuko, since Zuko and Iroh stop off to try to resupply, and that's where their first interaction with Zhao takes place. I like the actor portraying Zhao so far. I've only seen him in this episode and the following episode. He still has that conniving sliminess to him, which is easy to translate into live action, because have you seen a lot of performances for people in general? You can do slimy really easily. The episode is a lot slower to me than like the first episode. I think the first episode is a little bit stronger, but also because it kind of had to fit in a bunch of multiple episodes into one. This one really felt more like a singular, slower paced episode, and gave Aang and crew a chance to get more information and thus give more information to the audience that are watching. There is a way of trying to communicate things and emotions between characters, or what characters are feeling, without necessarily stating it out into the open. I'm wondering how much of it is going to be through the entire season when it comes to the dialogue of the series. That's probably the one thing I would say I kind of wish was polished a little bit more, is just how the characters express their emotions a little bit. Like more quiet moments, or more moments where it allows the audience to sort of infer it without just being told it. And that's kind of a crutch and a crime that a lot of shows and movies do, where I guess they do feel the need sometimes to over-explain things, but that could just be because of the way, if we're being completely honest, the way society kind of consumes information now. Like if you look at stuff like TikTok, there's short bursts of information. You're never really given a chance to sort of kind of stop and think about it. So maybe that's just kind of a fault of society, but it doesn't hurt my enjoyment of the series really all that much. I get it. It's sort of there. I'm more sucked in from a visual standpoint. Like I like the visualization of the bending, visualization of the costumes and the locations and the design. Those things really kind of hook me in pretty easily when it comes to a show of this caliber. But I do wish the dialogue was a little bit more finesse, but I get it, and it doesn't bother me as much. Again, we're only on episode 2. Maybe by episode 8, I'm cursing it. Who knows? I don't mind the direction that they're going. I'm actually intrigued by it. It makes it a little less predictable and a little bit more interesting to see how they got to crafting certain characters in certain positions now and giving us things that we didn't see before. Like, case in point, once the village is attacked in episode 2 by Zhao and his forces, Aang is in the middle of communion with Kyoshi, which I'm surprised he thought Kyoshi was the best one to start with, but yeah, that conversation is very much Kyoshi. It's very much like no bullshit. She definitely called him out on a lot of bullshit. You ran away, you left. Technically, he didn't run away. Maybe he did. Maybe I interpreted the events of him leaving in episode 1 more so like, I need to clear my head. I'm just going to fly around and go back. Not I ran away like he did in the animated series. So there might be a little bit of confusion between dialogue and intent. So, but she really laid it into him. And I like that they portrayed her, because I think Kyoshi was meant to be like, 7 foot tall and big feet and stuff like that. So I like the exaggerated size juxtaposed to what we see with Aang when they're having their conversation. And I will admit, I was surprised that they went with the whole Kyoshi took his body over and did some shit. That was a dope scene. I personally did really enjoy that. It really kind of showed off like what someone could do in the Avatar state in this instance. And I thought it was probably the coolest part of the episode. I'm hoping Katara gets a little better a little quickly. I mean, she's not a prodigy. They're really portraying Aang more as like this prodigy, or even someone that has an innately stronger sense of ability to control air than everybody else just based off the flashback that it showed. So they kind of amped Aang up a little bit, but Katara is the one learning and struggling, and she got the scroll that sort of gave her like the base forms of water bending. That is actually very different than what was in the animated series. In the animated series, she found it with a group of pirates during, I want to say it was during one of the, it was basically a filler episode, but they basically encountered some pirates and she discovered the scroll within like the stuff that the pirates, I think that's the same episode they met Zhang Zhang in, who was Aang's original quote unquote firebending teacher. And that's where you burn Katara, whole 9 yards. I hope we kind of do, because that was like a pivotal sort of moment that kind of kept Aang from wanting to use firebending for a long time. But if we don't, I'm sure they'll get around it or get to it in some way, shape, or form. I'm just going to try to have faith in what they're presenting and see how I feel about it. But I do like the depiction of waterbending. It does feel very basic right now. With what I can assume the time frame is of when they got to Kyoshi Island, that makes sense. And that's cool. I'm hoping she gets a little bit stronger before the finale. But the scene with Kyoshi was probably my favorite part. Definitely alerted more people to the fact that the Avatar is there, especially with Zhao sending a letter to the Fire Nation, and we actually get our first introduction of Fire Zaddy. It makes his first appearance towards the end of the episode with the information that Zhao sent him saying that the Avatar has returned. That's pretty much episode 2. The new character introductions of Suki and Zhao. Zhao plays a much bigger role in the rest of the season based off of the animated series. We'll see what kind of role he plays here. I like the more subdued role of Zhao, and I really enjoyed the performance by Suki's actor in the episode. So I'm looking forward to her return, most likely next season if this does get a second season. I hope it does. I'm enjoying it still. Again, the dialogue is still a little janky, a little expositional. Yes, could it be better? Yeah, it probably could be a lot better, the dialogue. But overall, I'm still enjoying it. I'm still having fun. The visuals actually look decent. I really liked the scene with Kyoshi, going ham pretty much. And I'm continuing to enjoy the character growth of all of the kids, especially Sokka. And we got a little bit more growth with Zuko. Although there was the one scene where he was like, he ran. It was very I heard it, the inflection of his voice shifted. I don't know if it was intentional or if maybe it was just the actor's voice cracked for some reason and no one did a second take. But that was probably the funniest part to me. I'm cool with the changes. The changes are not super big, especially not in the second episode. I think in the third episode, I noticed the most changes, and we'll talk about that once I record that video. So let me know what your thoughts are on episode 2 in the comments down below. Let me know when you got to this point, if you were still enjoying it, if you stopped watching, or if you are enjoying what you're seeing and you're cool with it. Or if you've never really been into the animated one and this is your first true exposure to the franchise, how do you feel about it? Or is it keeping your attention span? Do you like the more mature tone? All that stuff. I'm curious to hear those thoughts in the comments. So that is going to do it for our episode 2 spoiler review for Avatar: The Last Airbender. Let me know all the things I just asked you in the comments. Thank you so much for checking out this and all my videos. I really do appreciate it. Again, if you happen to be new here and you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. Really help me out. Trying to hit 1,000 subscribers is the next major goal of the channel, and I can't get there without all you beautiful people out there. So again, conversations, Discord, and comments. Please be nice to each other. Be courteous. We can have a discussion. If you did like it, you didn't like it, it's totally fine. Everybody's got an opinion. Just be respectful in your opinion and the opinion of others, as long as you're not being any of the red flags. Don't be a red flag. And don't yuck anybody's yum. Those are the 2 things I'm going to leave you with. You can follow me on a lot of different social media platforms listed at the end of this video. Got a ton of videos on this channel you're more than welcome to check out. My episode 1 review is on the channel, so please check that out. Like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And as always, until the next one and next time, I will catch you later. See ya. Hey, thanks for watching this video. If you did like this video, why not give me a thumbs up and share it with your friends? You can subscribe to the channel by clicking on my gorgeous little face right over there. You can follow me on all the various social media platforms right below. And last but certainly not least, if you've got a few extra minutes, why not check out one of the lovely videos floating right over here. Later.